political pitching. Changing the subject again to his book, Eddie asks, all right, Harold, so this publisher won't provide books for the stores. I need to buy books and sell them myself. Here is what I need to do. Since I get a 40% discount, I buy 500 books. The cost is $7,000. At $25 per book, it is a $5,000 profit. You asked me if I knew of any investment opportunities. Want to make this investment? Harold asked, where do you plan to sell the books? Eddie replied, at bookstores. When and where I do a reading, I will send the books ahead. They have consignment contracts, and they won't let me do a reading without books being available. Eddie continued, I have sponsorship from Homeless Action and Peace and Justice Center, Sonoma County. All I have to do is prepare a presentation reading event for directions to the dumpster. Harold mentioned his finances. Well, I don't exactly have the cash on hand. I got money in a bunch of assets in different places. I can't do it at this moment. Eddie sympathized. Yeah, man, that sucks. I will have to figure out something. I must and want to do readings, but without books, I cannot do readings at bookstores. Man, no mercy, no place. I am not anywhere near finding home. Man, I need God to show me some mercy. That's it, Mercy Street. I need to find directions to Mercy Street. Then I can find home again and know the best place to start. And I know the best place to start looking. Harold said, oh, yeah? Where would that be? Eddie replied, the church, of course. Would be the most logical place to get directions to Mercy Street. I will start calling them all tomorrow and see if they will let me do readings in their church. Eddie stood up saying, well, I guess I will be on my way. I do not know where to go. Oh, do you have a blanket? Harold grabbed a Green Bay Packers blanket on his bed and said, sure, man, here. As he tossed it, Eddie said, thank you. Every time you let me borrow the Packer blanket, I feel honored and privileged to know I have your trust in me. As usual, I will return it. Eddie went back out on the street. It was late. He had an exceptionally long day. It is best when surviving on the street without shelter to keep moving. He walked a few miles toward downtown, then past a park he called the Fish of a Different Color Park. It was nighttime, and the lights with all the colors of the spectrum were illuminating the glorious fish, a magnificent, unique work of art. A spectacular statue portrayed in this brilliant display of nature, enhanced at night, displaying the creativity and enhanced with a brilliant light show. He hears a familiar voice, the soft voice of a female. It is Carrie calling him. Fast Eddie. Eddie waves and walks towards her. She is near the bathroom. As usual, she is completely covered with clothing. Eddie knows her voice. He reaches her and they hug. Eddie says, hi, Carrie. Nice to see you. Are you okay? How was your day? She says, hi, Fast Eddie. Today was not bad. I am okay. Thanks again for this morning. Eddie said, anytime. In fact, in a matter of moments, my card will have a deposit. Are you hungry? Carrie said, no, but do you have any toothpaste? Eddie said, I do, and soap too. Do you need to use some? She said, definitely. But where? Um, Eddie said, great question. As you know, I have had security situations in this very spot in the middle of the day. Carrie said, I would feel safer if you could hang out with me. We can go in here. She led him to the bathroom. Carrie went in first, and Eddie followed. He closed the door, and he took out the soap. Carrie began to undress. Impossible for him to not notice her perfect body as he handed her the soap. They looked into each other's eyes. Slowly, each one of their smiles widened. As he placed the soap in her hand, Carrie said, I love you, Fast Eddie. Eddie could sense she wanted to be saying, I love you, Daddy, to her father. And he could almost hear, I love you, Daddy, from his daughter. As she turns, Eddie watches her, starting from the light brown hair she has been coloring much darker every time he sees her. He touches the blades of her shoulders, her light, obviously soft young skin. She curves perfectly down to her back. Eddie stops looking. He also turns, and he looks at the door, where any security alerts might present themselves. His admiration is strictly paternal. They were both assured of this. After many sincere, heartfelt conversations, their relationship was solidified. In the environment where they both survived, there is no security. Carrie is expressing an extremely enormous amount of trust in Eddie. For Carrie to be in this place with him was honorable for Eddie. He also put himself at risk. If he had to defend her, he would. He is tired and relaxed by leaning against the wall. He walked many miles in the day. Eddie began to ask Carrie a question. Carrie, but he stopped. His hesitation prompted Carrie to say, Fast Eddie, I love you. It's okay, whatever it is, because I know you. Usually we have deep, cool talk, stuff I like to talk about. You listen. I know that you are sincerely never judging me or anyone. Sometimes you get political, and I'm like, enough. That is when you ask me about me, and I love that. I never think that you do not understand. Politics is your thing. Very cool thing, just not my thing. We undeniably both have the same understanding of what everyone's individual rights ought to be able to be themselves and have the things they want. Eddie said, yep, as long as nobody is getting hurt. You are talking about liberty. Right on. She said, see, you understand exactly. Carrie chuckled. And Eddie said, but liberty is political. Carrie said, you're right. and I put all my trust in you to restore liberty for all. Now, that is way too much time on the subject for me, Eddie said, and a boatload of work for me. They both laughed, and she continued, "You are going to get out of this situation and off the streets. I know you are. Everyone out here knows that, except you." And he said, "Thank you." She said, "For what?" He said, "For showing me an enormous amount of trust, especially considering the environment we're surviving in." Claire was not understanding and said, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Eddie said, "It makes me feel really good that a beautiful young woman like yourself is comfortable with this. That you will say you will feel safer and request my presence is nice. I mean, I walk into a store and they act like Jesse James just walked in. You trust me because of who I am. You really know me. You know I'm not creepy." Carrie and Rubber said, "I heard a little freaky." They both laugh, and Carrie continues, "No, you're not even close to creepy. I love you, Fast Eddie. I want you to know that I love you like a daughter," Eddie said. "I know that you know this, or we would not be sitting here like this, you naked and all." They both start laughing again. Eddie has turned to where they can make eye contact in the mirror, the doors, and says, "We have developed a dynamic that is so completely father-daughter, and it is natural and a healthy thing that we did. You're a beautiful person. I love you. I hope